Before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share our journey with others. Let's remind the world that we are all human, facing our struggles and embracing the beauty of connection, vulnerability, and love. Now join me as we explore a journey of self-discovery, where fear and love collide in a way that will touch your heart. Let's begin. The acrid tang of burnt coffee, a bitter echo of the anxiety clenching his gut, stung Elias Thorne's nostrils. He scrubbed furiously at the stain, marring his pristine drafting table. The eraser, a pathetically inadequate weapon against the encroaching chaos, threatening to unravel his meticulously crafted life. At 28, Elias was a master of control, his existence a finely tuned machine. Every breath, every movement, a precisely calibrated response to a world he perceived as relentlessly hostile. The crisp white shirt, the impeccably styled hair, even the faint tremor in his hand, betrayed the carefully constructed facade. Beneath the polished surface lay a deep, unsettling vulnerability, a chasm of unspoken desires that yawned like a dark abyss. He was a prisoner of his own meticulousness, the bars of his self-imposed cage tightening with each passing day. His curated solitude was a stark monument to his secret, a sexuality he kept locked away, a terrifying and alluring monster he refused to confront. Anonymous encounters, fleeting touches, in the shadowed corners of nightclubs left him emptier, more entrenched in his self-made exile. The silence in his minimalist apartment pressed down on him, a suffocating weight. The emptiness, a constant gnawing ache that mirrored the hollowness in his heart. He often found himself staring at his reflection, a stranger gazing back, eyes filled with a nameless sadness, a profound loneliness that chilled him to the bone. He yearned for connection, for a touch that didn't leave him feeling more desolate than before. The yearning was a physical ache, a constant thrumming beneath the surface of his carefully constructed composure, a silent scream trapped within. He dreamt of a warmth he'd never known, a hand to hold, a smile that wasn't a performance, a genuine connection that transcended the superficiality of his carefully curated life. The relentless drumming of rain against his window panes, one blustery Tuesday, was shattered by a burst of unruly brown hair and a laugh that sounded like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Liam O'Connell, a whirlwind of vibrant energy, burst into his life, a splash of color in the muted gray of Elias's existence. Liam's design sketches, strewn across his portfolio, were breathtaking. Vibrant explosions of color and form, a stark contrast to Elias's precise, almost sterile blueprints. The sheer audacity of his work felt like a slap in the face, a thrilling challenge to Elias's rigidly controlled aesthetic, a rebellion against the order he so desperately clung to. Elias, usually unflappable, found his hands trembling whenever Liam was near, his usually perfect lines wavering, mirroring the erratic beat of his own heart. His meticulously ordered world, built on years of rigid self-control, tilted precariously on its axis, its foundation crumbling under the weight of an unexpected attraction. He felt a strange pull, an unsettling, exhilarating disruption to the familiar quiet of his life, a chaos that both terrified and excited him. Their first true meeting wasn't a romantic encounter, but a chaotic collision by the office coffee machine. The scalding liquid spilled, a shared accident that resulted in a brief, searing touch of fingers. Liam's eyes, the warm, rich brown of autumn leaves after a sudden downpour, held Elias's gaze for a moment too long. A silent acknowledgement of an undeniable attraction they both desperately tried to ignore. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," Liam stammered, his cheeks flushed, a stark contrast to his usual easy confidence. His voice, usually brimming with laughter, was laced with genuine concern. Elias, equally flustered, could only manage a mumbled apology, his throat suddenly dry. The spilled coffee, a symbol of their uncontrolled chaos, became an unexpected catalyst. Elias felt a strange warmth bloom in his chest, a sensation both thrilling and terrifying, a fragile hope flickering in the desolate landscape of his self-imposed isolation. He caught the faint scent of cinnamon and something else, almost musky, lingering on Liam's sweater. A scent that clung to his memory long after Liam had left. A phantom touch that lingered on his skin. A sensual memory that haunted him. I should get back to work," Elias muttered, escaping as quickly as he could, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. A wild, unfamiliar feeling that both exhilarated and terrified him. He felt exposed, vulnerable, raw in a way he hadn't allowed himself to be in years. The Zenith Tower project threw them together, their proximity fueling an unspoken tension that crackled in the air like static electricity. Paralyzed by fear, Elias maintained a rigid professional distance, burying himself in late nights and painstaking details, desperately trying to regain control, to recapture the order that had been so violently disrupted. Yet he couldn't ignore Liam's lingering gaze, the seemingly casual touches, a hand brushing against his arm, a playful nudge that hinted at something more, the easy banter that made Elias feel truly seen, understood in a way no one ever had before. A flicker of hope, fragile as a newborn bird, ignited in the desolate landscape of his self-imposed isolation. But this fragile hope was intertwined with a potent cocktail of fear and guilt. He found himself replaying their interactions, dissecting Liam's words and actions, searching for hidden meanings where there may have been none, torturing himself with the uncertainties of his feelings. Sleep became a battlefield of dreams and anxieties, a stark contrast to his normally regimented routine. He'd wake in a cold sweat, his heart pounding, the echoes of Liam's laughter and the scent of his cologne clinging to the edges of his consciousness. A haunting reminder of the forbidden desires that simmered beneath the surface. He was falling, and the fall felt both terrifying and incredibly exhilarating. One Friday evening, the office was deserted, except for Elias and Liam, hunched over blueprints, illuminated by the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. The air thrummed with an unspoken energy that far surpassed the project's demands. A quiet hum of anticipation hung between them, a tangible tension that seemed to charge the air, a silent conversation that spoke volumes. Liam, leaning back, gently brushed a stray strand of hair from Elias's forehead. A simple gesture that sent a jolt of unexpected pleasure through Elias, a tremor that had nothing to do with his shaky hands. The scent of Liam's aftershave, a subtle blend of sandalwood and bergamot, filled his senses, intoxicating and unexpectedly comforting. A stark contrast to the sterile scent of his office. "You're really good at this," Liam murmured, his voice a low rumble that resonated deep within Elias's chest, sending shivers down his spine. The detail, it's breathtaking, it's... "You!" The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning, laced with an admiration that left Elias breathless. He felt a warmth spread through him, melting the carefully constructed walls of his self-control. The vulnerability was overwhelming, yet strangely liberating. A blush crept up Elias's neck, a stark betrayal of his carefully constructed composure. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely audible, barely a breath. He felt utterly exposed, vulnerable in a way that both frightened and excited him. The fear was still there, a shadow lurking at the edge of his consciousness, but it no longer held the same paralyzing power. Liam's smile was a captivating explosion of warmth. "You know," he said, leaning closer, his breath warm against Elias's ear, sending a shiver down Elias's spine. "I've been meaning to ask, what do you do on weekends?" Elias's heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. This was it, the precipice of something both terrifying and exhilarating. His carefully rehearsed responses deserted him. He stammered, I usually just work." The confession felt heavy, laden with years of self-imposed isolation, a testament to the loneliness that had defined his life. Liam chuckled, the sound like warm honey, easing the tension that coiled tightly in Elias's stomach. "Well," he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief, "maybe we could change that." That weekend, Elias found himself in Liam's apartment, a vibrant space that mirrored Liam's personality. Eclectic furniture, bold artwork, and a palpable sense of life and laughter. A stark contrast to the sterile, predictable world Elias had inhabited for so long. He felt a strange mix of excitement and fear, his heart pounding in his chest like a trapped bird. He was acutely aware of the risk, the vulnerability he was exposing. He'd never allowed himself to be this unguarded, this exposed. He was falling, and the fall was breathtakingly terrifying, yet undeniably exhilarating. The first kiss was tentative, hesitant, a slow, careful exploration of uncharted territory. Elias's hands trembled as they touched Liam's skin, the sensation both exhilarating and terrifying. The scent of Liam's cologne, a blend of sandalwood and something subtly spicy, filled his senses, intensifying the intoxicating mix of fear and desire. As their kiss deepened, a wave of guilt washed over Elias, the forbidden fruit tasting both sweet and bitter. He was experiencing a rush of sensations he'd never allowed himself to feel before. Sensations so intense, they felt both dangerous and utterly freeing. It was a release, a letting go of the rigid control he had held onto for so long. The following weeks were a whirlwind of stolen moments, furtive glances, and late-night texts, each interaction a fragile victory against the fear that constantly shadowed them. Their physical intimacy deepened, each encounter a revelation, each touch etching itself into Elias's memory, chipping away at the walls he'd spent years building around his heart. Liam's unwavering acceptance, his gentle tenderness, chipped away at his carefully constructed armor, revealing a core of longing and vulnerability Elias hadn't known existed. He started to see the reflection of his true self in these secret moments, the connection between his suppressed identity and his hidden love becoming increasingly clear. He found himself laughing more, genuinely smiling, a stark contrast to the tightly controlled expressions he had worn for so long. The laughter felt foreign, yet incredibly freeing, a sound he hadn't heard from himself in years. But their clandestine romance lived in the shadows, the ever-present threat of discovery casting a long, ominous shadow over their stolen moments. The fear of losing his job, the potential alienation of his family, the self-imposed isolation he'd known for so long, all threatened to engulf him. The weight of his secret felt like a physical burden, a constant pressure in his chest, a suffocating weight that threatened to crush him. He felt the weight of societal expectations pressing down on him, a crushing burden that threatened to suffocate him. He knew that revealing his true self could cost him everything he had worked for. One night, overwhelmed by the weight of his secret, Elias broke down, confessing his fears to Liam, his voice choked with tears. The confession was a torrent of unspoken anxieties and self-doubt, a lifetime of repression finally spilling over. He confessed everything, from his childhood insecurities to his professional ambitions, his fears of rejection intertwined with his hidden desires. The vulnerability was terrifying, but also liberating. The tears flowed freely, washing away years of pent-up emotions. Liam held him close, whispering words of comfort and acceptance. His warmth, a soothing balm against the torrent of Elias's emotions. "You don't have to hide," he said softly, his voice a gentle reassurance. "We don't have to hide." Liam's unwavering support empowered Elias. He started to share small details of his relationship with close friends, discovering an unexpected level of acceptance. He felt the walls around his heart crumble, the fear losing its paralyzing grip, replaced by a slow, steady blooming of confidence. He found a strength within himself he never knew existed. A quiet strength, born of love and acceptance, a strength he never knew he possessed. Then came Mark, a senior architect with rigidly traditional views, who discovered their affair. His reaction was a toxic mixture of disapproval and thinly veiled threats, a stark reminder of the homophobia that simmered beneath the surface of their professional world. The tension escalated, culminating in a company retreat, fueled by alcohol and simmering resentments. Mark, emboldened by drink and anger, made a public spectacle of his disapproval, forcing Elias and Liam into a desperate, agonizing confrontation. The air crackled with animosity, punctuated by nervous whispers and strained smiles from onlookers. The fear was palpable, a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of Elias's newfound openness. The moment hung heavy with the weight of unspoken prejudices. Elias, emboldened by Liam's unwavering support and his own burgeoning self-acceptance, stood his ground, defending their relationship, acknowledging his sexuality openly for the first time to his colleagues and senior management. The moment was fraught with fear, the fear of losing everything he'd worked for. But it was also a moment of profound liberation, a deep breath of fresh air after years of suffocating silence. His voice trembled at first, but then grew stronger, fueled by his love for Liam and his determination to live authentically. He spoke of the shame he'd carried, the fear that had shaped his life, the hidden longing for acceptance he had always suppressed. The words poured out of him, a release of pent-up emotion that felt both terrifying and exhilarating. His voice resonated with a newfound strength, a quiet power that commanded attention and cut through the animosity that filled the room. The fallout was swift and brutal. Some colleagues recoiled, their expressions a testament to the deep-seated prejudices Elias had unwittingly helped to perpetuate. Others, surprisingly, offered unexpected support, their surprised expressions revealing the hidden biases within the company culture. Elias lost some projects, but gained something infinitely more valuable: authenticity. The company, initially resistant, was eventually forced to confront its own lack of inclusivity. Elias's courage sparking a necessary conversation about diversity and acceptance. The change wasn't immediate or easy, a slow, gradual shift in the company's culture. But the seeds of progress had been sown, thanks to Elias's brave stand. He faced the fallout with Liam by his side, their love a constant source of strength, a beacon in the storm. In the end, Elias and Liam emerged stronger, their love forged in the crucible of fear and acceptance, a symbol of defiance against prejudice. Their relationship became a testament to the courage it takes to live authentically. Elias's journey was far from over, but he embraced the ongoing process of self-discovery with newfound confidence. The coffee stains on his drafting table were mere reminders of a past he was leaving behind. He had traded the meticulous control of his former life for the messy, beautiful chaos of self-acceptance. And in that chaos, he found love, belonging, and a future brimming with possibilities. The office politics in the end had been no match for the power of love and self-acceptance. The future held uncertainties, but it also held the promise of a life lived on his own terms. A life where he was finally free. A life where the coffee stains no longer symbolized his inner turmoil, but merely a moment in time, a memory of a journey of self-discovery, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. He looked at his reflection now and saw not a stranger, but a man who had finally found his place in the world, a man who was finally, truly himself. The journey had been arduous, but the destination was worth the fight.